Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, replaying those moments when your kindness was met with betrayal? When your generous heart became someone else's doormat? I know that feeling. That deep ache in your chest when you realize, once again, that you've given too much of yourself to someone who gave nothing in return. You know, I'm not alone. Right now, millions of kind souls are wrestling with the same painful truth. Being nice doesn't mean others will be nice back, and it's time we talked about this, really talked about it, not with shame, not with anger, but with the wisdom that comes from understanding our own worth. Think back to the last time you said yes, when every fiber of your being screamed. No, remember that moment when you smiled and said it's fine while your heart crumbled inside. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we keep playing this exhausting role of the eternal giver, the perpetual peacekeeper, the one who always understands, always forgives, always accommodates? Here's the truth that might shake you to your core. Your niceness isn't just a personality trait. It's become your prison, a beautiful, gilded cage that you've built with your own hands, bar by bar, yes by yes, compromise by compromise. But today, right here, right now, we're going to break free. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine yourself as a magnificent ocean, vast, deep, powerful. Now watch how, over the years, you've allowed others to build dams around your waters, controlling your flow, deciding where and when you can move. That's what happens. When we confuse being nice with being valuable, we let others regulate our power, direct our energy, and determine our boundaries. But here's the beautiful paradox that changed my life and will change yours. You can be kind without being nice. You can be compassionate without being compliant. You can love without losing yourself. Well, let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When was the last time you felt truly respected? Not just liked, not just appreciated for what you do for others, but deeply, genuinely respected for who you are. If you're struggling to remember, it's because we've been playing the wrong game with the wrong rules. You see, there's a fundamental difference between being nice and being kind. Niceness is a performance. It's what we do to please others, to avoid conflict, to maintain peace at any price. It's the mask we wear that slowly becomes our face. But kindness? Kindness is something entirely different. Kindness comes from strength. It's a choice we make from a place of power, not fear. The world has sold us a beautiful lie. That being nice means being good. That sacrificing our own needs makes us better people. That putting ourselves last somehow puts us first in the race for love and acceptance. But let me tell you what I've learned through years of watching people break free from this pattern. Your worth isn't measured by how much you can tolerate. Your value isn't determined by how much you can give. Your goodness isn't proven by how much pain you can endure with a smile. Think about a time when someone took advantage of your niceness. Feel that moment again. Not to hurt yourself, but to understand something crucial. That pain you felt, it wasn't just about their actions. It was your soul screaming out, trying to tell you something vital. This isn't love. This isn't respect. This isn't what you deserve. As we begin this journey together, I want you to understand something profound. The transformation we're about to undergo isn't about becoming less caring. It's about becoming more authentic. It's not about building walls. It's about establishing healthy boundaries. It's not about hardening your heart. It's about strengthening your spirit. The first step in this transformation is understanding that your niceness, the very thing you thought was your greatest virtue, might actually be your learned response to fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. This revelation might feel like a punch to the gut. But stay with me, because understanding this is the key to your liberation. How many of your yes responses came from genuine desire? And how many came from fear? How often do you silence your own needs because you're afraid of being seen as difficult? When did you learn that your worth depends on how much you can give to others? This pattern often starts in childhood. Maybe you were the peacekeeper in a chaotic home. Perhaps you learned that love was conditional on being good, on never causing trouble, on always putting others first. Or maybe life taught you that the only way to be safe was to be nice, to be agreeable, to be whatever others needed you to be. Here's the truth that will set you on the path to freedom. You weren't born to be nice. You were born to be real. You weren't meant to be everyone's answer. You were meant to be your own question, your own journey, your own truth. The transformation we're embarking on isn't just about changing behaviors. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about understanding that true strength doesn't lie in endless giving, but in knowing when to say yes and when to say no. It lies in recognizing that sometimes the kindest thing you can do, both for yourself and others, is to set firm boundaries. I want you to imagine something with me. I picture yourself as a beautiful garden. For years, you've let everyone walk through this garden whenever they wanted. They've picked your flowers, trampled your seeds, and taken your fruits, all because you thought that's what a good garden does. But a garden without fences isn't generous. It's vulnerable. A garden without boundaries can't flourish. It can't grow to its full potential. Today, we're going to learn how to build those fences. Not walls that keep everything out, but healthy boundaries that protect your growth, your peace, and your power. We're going to explore 5 transformative ways to stop being the nice person who gets hurt while keeping your heart open and your spirit strong. Remember this moment. Remember how it feels to be standing on the edge of this profound change? Because when we're done, you won't just be nice, you'll be authentic. You won't just be liked, you'll be respected. You won't just survive, you'll thrive. Are you ready to begin this journey? Are you ready to discover how to be kind without being nice? How to be loving without being a doormat? How to care for others without sacrificing yourself? Then take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's take the first step together toward a life where your kindness comes from strength, not fear. This is where your real story begins. This is where you learn that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. This is where you discover that being true to yourself isn't just an option. It's your responsibility. Because the world doesn't need more nice people who get hurt. The world needs more authentic souls who know how to love from a place of power, who understand that boundaries aren't walls but bridges to genuine connection. Let's begin with the first crucial step in this transformation, a step that might feel uncomfortable at first, but will ultimately lead you to freedom. But before we do, I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you'll stay open to these truths, even when they challenge everything you've believed about being nice. Promise that you'll be patient with yourself as you learn these new ways of being. Promise that you'll remember that this journey isn't about becoming less loving. It's about loving wisely, starting with yourself. Are you ready? Then let's dive into the first transformative truth that will change how you show up in the world. Not as a nice person who gets hurt, but as a strong soul who knows how to love without losing yourself. The first way to stop being the nice person who gets hurt is to understand this life-changing truth. Your emotions are messengers, not monsters. Think about it. Every time you feel that knot in your stomach, when someone makes an unreasonable request, every time your shoulders tense, when someone crosses your boundaries, every time your heart races when you're about to say yes to something you desperately want to decline, your body is speaking to you. It's sending you vital information about what's right and what's wrong for you. But what have we done with these messages? We've buried them, silenced them, convinced ourselves that these feelings are wrong, selfish, or unnecessary. We've become so good at ignoring our internal compass that we can barely recognize its direction anymore. That discomfort you feel when someone takes advantage of your kindness isn't weakness, it's wisdom. That anger that bubbles up when someone disrespects your boundaries isn't bad, it's balanced. That exhaustion you feel after giving too much isn't laziness. It's love trying to teach you about self-preservation. Your emotions are your internal GPS system, constantly calculating the right path for your well-being. When was the last time you truly listened to them? When was the last time you honored what they were telling you? Start treating your emotions as valued advisors rather than unwelcome intruders. When someone makes a request that makes you uncomfortable, don't rush to silence that discomfort. Be curious about it. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to tell me? Remember, nice people who get hurt often become experts at dismissing their own emotional responses. We've learned to override our internal warning systems because we're more concerned with other people's comfort than our own truth. But here's a revolutionary idea. What if your discomfort is just as valid as someone else's? What if your peace matters just as much as their convenience? The second way to transform your life is to master the art of the sacred no. Yes, you heard me right. Sacred no. Not a guilty no, not an apologetic no, not a no wrapped in 1,000 explanations and justifications. A sacred no, one that comes from your core understanding that every yes to someone else's demands shouldn't mean a no to your own well-being. Think of your energy as a precious currency. Every time you say yes to something, you're spending some of this currency. The question is, are you investing it or wasting? Are you spending it on things that align with your values and nurture your soul? Or are you frittering it away on obligations that drain you? Every time you say yes, when you want to say no, you're not just being nice. You're being dishonest. Dishonest with yourself, dishonest with others. You're teaching people that your words can't be trusted because they don't align with your truth. You're teaching them that your boundaries are negotiable, that your limits are flexible, that your needs are optional. But what if you could see your no as an act of love? Love for yourself, yes, but also love for the truth, love for authentic relationships, love for clear communication. What if you could understand that your no creates space for a more genuine yes? Let me give you a powerful tool. The next time you're faced with a request that makes you hesitate, pause and ask yourself these 3 questions. If I had all the power, all the confidence, and all the security in the world, what would my true answer be? If this person genuinely cares about me, wouldn't they want to know my honest feelings? What am I afraid will happen if I say no? And is that fear based on past wounds or present reality? These questions will help you distinguish between choices made from love and choices made from fear. They'll help you recognize when you're saying yes from a place of authentic generosity versus when you're saying yes from a place of anxious people-pleasing. Now, here's where many nice people get stuck. They think setting boundaries means becoming harsh, cold, or uncaring. Nothing could be further from the truth. Setting boundaries is actually an act of profound respect for yourself and respect for others. It's saying, I honor myself enough to be honest, and I respect you enough to be truthful. Your sacred no doesn't need to be wrapped in elaborate explanations or cushioned with endless apologies. It can be gentle but firm, kind but clear. I won't be able to help with that as a complete sentence. That doesn't work for me is a valid response. No, thank you is enough. Start practicing your sacred. No in small situations first. Notice how your body feels when you honor your truth. Pay attention to the energy that returns to you when you stop leaking it into obligations that don't serve your highest good. And here's something miraculous you'll discuss. As you get better at saying no to what doesn't serve you, you'll find yourself more genuinely enthusiastic about saying yes to what does. Your yeses will become more powerful, more authentic, more joyful, because they'll come from a place of true choice rather than obligation. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your values, you're saying yes to your own growth, yes to your own peace, yes to your own power. Every boundary you set is a declaration of self-respect. Every limit you enforce is an act of self-love. You might be thinking, but what about the people who won't like my new boundaries? What about those who've grown accustomed to my endless giving? This brings us to a crucial understanding. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Not everyone will applaud your transformation from a nice person who gets hurt to a strong person who loves wisely. Some people might resist your change. Some might try to make you feel guilty. Some might even try to convince you that you're being selfish or difficult. But here's what you need to remember. Their resistance is not about your worth. It's about their discomfort with change. Their disapproval is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's often a sign that you're finally doing something right. Your journey from being nice to being authentic isn't about becoming less loving. It's about loving more wisely, starting with yourself. It's about understanding that true kindness doesn't require self-sacrifice, that real compassion includes self-compassion, that authentic giving can only come from a full cup, not an empty one. As we close this section, I want you to take a moment to acknowledge the courage it takes to make these changes. Feel the strength building within you as you learn to honor your emotions and embrace your sacred no. Remember, this isn't about becoming less. It's about becoming more. More authentic, more honest, more aligned with your truth. Are you ready to discover the next transformative way to stop being the nice person who gets hurt? Are you prepared to go even deeper into this journey of self-discovery and empowerment? Then take a deep breath, because what comes next will revolutionize how you show up in all your relationships. The third transformative way to stop being the nice person who gets hurt cuts right to the core of who you are. Understanding your worth is not for sale. Let those words sink in for a moment. Your worth is not for sale, not for approval, not for love, not for acceptance, not for peace, not for anything. Yet how many times have you discounted your worth in the marketplace of relationships? How often have you marked down your values in the bargain bin of other people's convenience? How frequently have you put your dignity on clearance, hoping someone would finally see your value? Think about the last time you compromised your standards to keep someone happy. Remember the last time you accepted less than you deserved because you were afraid of asking for more. Recall the last time you swallowed your truth because you thought it would make you more lovable. Here's a truth that might shake the very foundation of how you've been living. You don't earn worth through niceness. Your worth isn't something you achieve through endless giving. Your worth isn't measured by how much pain you can endure with a smile. Your worth is your birthright. It's as innate as your heartbeat, as natural as your breath, as fundamental as your existence. But nice people who get hurt often fall into what I call the worth work trap. We believe that if we just work hard enough at being nice, if we just give enough, if we just sacrifice enough, then finally we'll be worthy of respect, love, and property. You cannot earn what you already own. You cannot achieve what is already yours. Your worth isn't waiting for you at the finish line of endless people-pleasing. Your worth is right here, right now, waiting for you to claim it. This brings us to a powerful practice I want you to start today. The worth audit. Every time you're about to say yes to something, every time you're about to compromise, every time you're about to accept less than you deserve, ask yourself, am I doing this from a place of worth or a place of worthlessness? Is this action aligned with my inherent value, or am I trying to prove my value? Would someone who truly knows their worth accept this situation? These questions might feel uncomfortable at first. They might shine a light on patterns you've been running for years, maybe even decades. But remember, discomfort is often the price of transformation. When you start treating your worth as non-negotiable, some people won't like it. They've grown accustomed to you being the one who always bends, always adjusts, always accommodates. Your new understanding of your worth might inconvenience them, but ask yourself this. Would you rather inconvenience others or continue betraying yourself? Nice people who get hurt often carry around an invisible price tag that says available for the cost of a smile or will trade self-respect for approval. Today, we're ripping off that price tag. Today, we're declaring that your worth is not up for negotiation. This means learning to spot the subtle ways you might be selling yourself short. It means recognizing when you're trading your peace for temporary harmony. It means identifying when you're bartering your boundaries for breadcrumbs of affection. Think of your worth like the sun. The sun doesn't negotiate its brightness. It doesn't dim its light to make others comfortable. It doesn't apologize for its warmth. It simply is, and those who can't handle its brightness don't get to demand it shine less. They need to find their own shade. Your job isn't to convince others of your worth. Your job is to stop questioning it yourself. This brings us to a practical exercise I want you to try. The worth declaration. Take a moment right now to place your hand on your heart and say these. My worth is not determined by how much I give. My value is not measured by how much I endure. My dignity is not negotiable. My boundaries are not up for discussion. My needs are not inconveniences. Feel the power of these words. Let them sink into your bones. Let them rewrite the stories you've been telling yourself about what you need to do to be worthy. Now, here's where many nice people stumble. They understand their worth intellectually, but struggle to embody it emotionally. They know they deserve better, but still find themselves accepting less. This is because knowing your worth is just the first step. Living from your worth, that's the real transformation. Living from your worth means you don't explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't audition for places you already belong. You don't convince people to choose you. You don't prove your value through endless giving. You don't earn your space through constant compromise. Instead, you operate from the unshakable, knowing that your worth is intrinsic. It's not something you achieve. It's something you acknowledge. It's not something you earn. It's something you... This understanding transforms how you show up in every relationship. when you truly know your worth. You stop accepting crumbs and calling it a feast. You stop treating red flags like checkered flags. You stop mistaking control for care. You stop confusing attention for respect. You stop trading your peace for other people's approval. When you stop selling yourself short, you actually become more valuable to the right people. When you stop discounting your worth, you attract those who can afford your price. Not in terms of money, but in terms of respect, reciprocity, and genuine care. Think about it like this. Would you trust a brand that constantly slashed its prices, that was always on sale, that begged people to buy it? Or would you trust a brand that knew its value, maintained its standards, and attracted those who appreciated its worth? You are not a clearance item. You are not a discount brand. You are not a product to be sold at the lowest price to the highest bidder. You are invaluable, irreplaceable, and non-negotiable. As we prepare to move into our next transformative way, I want you to carry this truth with you. The moment you stop selling yourself short is the moment others stop buying the idea that you're worth less than you are. Your journey from being nice to being worthy isn't about becoming different bouts. It's about becoming more authentically yourself. It's about remembering who you were before the world convinced you that your worth was something to be earned rather than something to. Are you ready to discover the fourth way to stop being the nice person who gets hurt? Are you prepared to go even deeper into this journey of reclaiming your power? Then take a deep breath, because what comes next will revolutionize how you relate to yourself and others. The fourth way to stop being the nice person who gets hurt is understanding what I call the power of selective investment. This isn't about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming wise with where you plant the seeds of your energy, attention, and care. Think of yourself as a master gardener, and your energy is the water you have to nourish your garden. For years, you've been trying to water every plant, every flower, every weed that appears in your garden. You've been sprinkling your precious water everywhere, hoping something beautiful would grow. But here's the truth. Not every plant deserves your water. Not every relationship deserves your energy. Not every situation deserves your attention. Let that sink in for a moment. Nice people who get hurt often believe they need to nurture everything and everyone. We've convinced ourselves that being selective with our energy somehow makes us less kind, less loving, less worthy. But what if the opposite is true? What if being selective with your energy actually makes you more impactful, more authentic, and more genuinely helpful? If my energy was a precious resource, which it is, am I investing it in places where it can truly flourish, or am I spilling it into bottomless wells? Nice people who get hurt often find themselves pouring energy in relationships that consistently take more than they give. Situations where their efforts are neither noticed nor valued. People who have shown repeatedly that they don't respect boundaries, dynamics that drain their spirit without feeding their soul. But today, we're going to change that pattern. Today, you're going to learn the art of selective investment. This isn't about becoming stingy with your love. It's about becoming strategic with your energy. Think about the last time you felt completely drained, utterly exhausted from giving. Now ask yourself, was that exhaustion from giving too much or from giving to the wrong places? Was it from loving too deeply or from loving without wisdom? Here's a truth that transformed my understanding. Energy flows where attention goes. Every time you invest your energy in a situation or relationship, you're not just giving your time or effort. You're giving your life force. You're giving pieces of your potential, your creativity, your joy. So let's create what I call an energy investment portfolio. Just as a wise investor wouldn't put all their money into high-risk ventures, you shouldn't put all your energy into high-drain relationships or situations. Here's how to start. First, audit your current energy investments. Ask yourself, who or what consistently leaves me feeling energized and inspired? Who or what regularly leaves me feeling drained and depleted? Where do I see a return on my emotional investment? Where am I constantly investing without any signs of growth or reciprocity? This isn't about judging others or yourself. It's about becoming aware of where your precious energy is flowing and whether those investments align with your highest good. Now, here's where many nice people get stuck. They think being selective with their energy means they're being selfish or unkind. But consider this: when you stop investing energy in places where it's wasted, you have more energy to invest in places where it can truly make a difference. If you had a limited amount of water to nourish plants, would you keep watering dead plants, hoping they'll come back to life? Keep pouring water into soil that never produces growth? Keep sprinkling drops everywhere, never giving enough to any single plant to truly thrive? Or would you focus your water on the plants that show signs of life and growth? Invest in soil that's fertile and ready to nurture what you plant. Give enough water to each chosen plant to ensure it can flourish. The answer seems obvious when we talk about plants, doesn't it? But somehow, when it comes to our emotional and energetic investments, we lose this clarity. Here's a powerful practice I want you to start today: the energy investment review. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did my energy flow today? Did these investments align with my values and priorities? Which investments left me feeling enriched? Which left me feeling depleted? What would happen if I redirected my energy from low-return investments to high-return ones? Being selective with your energy isn't about loving less. It's about loving more wisely. It's not about caring less. It's about caring more effectively. It's not about giving less. It's about giving where it matters most. Connecting us to another vital aspect of selective investment: recognizing the difference between helping and enabling. Nice people who get hurt often confuse these two. We think that by constantly being available, by always saying yes, by never letting others face the consequences of their actions, we're being helpful. But are we? True help empowers. It encourages growth. It supports independence. Enabling, on the other hand, creates dependency. It stunts growth. It prolongs patterns that need to change. Ask yourself, am I helping this person grow, or am I helping them stay stuck? Is my support empowering them to become stronger, or enabling them to remain dependent? Are my actions creating positive change or maintaining harmful patterns? The answers to these questions will guide you in making wiser energy investments. Now, here's something crucial to understand. When you start practicing selective investment, some people won't like it. Those who've grown accustomed to unlimited access to your energy might protest when you become more selective. They might try to make you feel guilty. They might accuse you of changing or becoming cold. But remember this: their discomfort with your boundaries is not your responsibility. Their adjustment to your new standards is not your burden to bear. Your energy is your life force. It's the currency with which you purchase your experiences in this world. It's the fuel that powers your dreams, your growth, your purpose. Spending it wisely isn't selfish. It's sacred. As we prepare to move into our fifth and final transformative way, carry this truth with you. Every time you say no to energy-draining situations, you say yes to your own vitality. Every time you choose not to invest in bottomless wells, you reserve more water for fertile soil. Are you ready to discover the final way to stop being the nice person who gets hurt? Are you prepared for the truth that will tie everything together and set you free? Then take a deep breath, because what comes next will complete your transformation. The fifth and final way to stop being the nice person who gets hurt is what I call the power of aligned action. This is where everything we've learned comes together to create lasting transformation in your life. You see, understanding your emotions, mastering your sacred no, knowing your worth, and practicing selective investment. These are all crucial pieces of the puzzle. But without aligned action, they remain beautiful theories, wonderful ideas that never quite make it into reality. Aligned action means that your behavior matches your beliefs. Your outer world reflects your inner worth. Your choices mirror your values. This sounds simple, but for nice people who get hurt, it's often the hardest step of all. Why? Because aligned action requires courage. Not the dramatic courage of grand gestures, but the quiet courage of consistent choices. The courage to disappoint people in the short term to honor yourself in the long term. The courage to feel uncomfortable now, so you can be authentic later. Think about a time when you knew exactly what you needed to do, but you didn't do it. You knew you should walk away, but you stayed. You knew you should speak up, but you remained silent. You knew you should set that boundary, but you let it slide. The gap between what you know and what you do. That's where hurt lives. Aligned action closes that gap. It's the bridge between knowing your worth and living your worth, between understanding your boundaries and enforcing your boundaries, between recognizing toxic patterns and actually breaking free from them. Here's the revolutionary truth about aligned action. It's not about doing big things. It's about doing small things in a big way. It's about bringing your full truth to every moment, every interaction, every choice. What does aligned action look like in practice? It's saying, I need to think about it instead of an immediate yes. It's leaving the room. When someone dismisses your feelings, it's returning the unasked for favor. Instead of feeling obligated, it's allowing others to feel disappointed in your choices. It's choosing your peace over others' convenience. But here's where many nice people get stuck. They think aligned action means they have to transform their entire life overnight. They believe they need to revolutionize every relationship immediately. They feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of change required. Let me share something powerful with you. Aligned action starts with one choice, one moment, one truth honored, one boundary upheld. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. Think of aligned action like building a house. You don't build it all at once. You lay one brick at a time. Each brick represents a moment when you chose your truth over people-pleasing, when you honored your worth over others' demands, when you selected peace over popularity. Here's a practice I want you to start today. The alignment audit. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did my actions today align with my worth? Did my choices reflect my values? Did my responses honor my truth? Where did I choose courage over comfort? Where might I need to adjust tomorrow? Every time you take aligned action, you're not just changing a moment. You're changing your life's trajectory. Every time you choose to honor your truth, you're not just affecting the present. You're creating a new future. But here's something crucial to understand about aligned act. It's not about perfection. There will be days when you slip back into old patterns, moments when fear wins over truth, times when the nice person who gets hurt shows up again. That's okay. Do you know why? Because aligned action isn't about never falling. It's about always getting back up. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about learning from each one. It's not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. Think of aligned action like learning to dance. At first, you might step on some toes. You might miss some beats. You might feel awkward and uncoordinated. But with each practice, each attempt, each willingness to try again, you get better, more confident, more graceful. The same is true for living in alignment with your worth. Each time you honor your truth, it gets a little easier. Each time you uphold a boundary, it gets a little clearer. Each time you choose yourself, it gets a little more natural. Now let's bring everything together. The 5 ways we've explored are not separate paths. They're interconnected aspects of the same journey. Your emotions are messengers, guiding you toward truth. Your sacred no is protection, guarding your peace. Your worth is innate, requiring no proof or purchase. Your energy is precious, deserving wise investment. Your actions must align with these truths. Together, these 5 ways create a foundation for a new way of being. Not just a nice person who gets hurt, but a strong soul who loves wisely. Not just a giver who gets drained, but a conscious creator of healthy relationships. Not just a peacekeeper at any price, but a peacemaker on your own terms. As we close this journey together, I want you to understand something profound. The transformation you're undertaking isn't just about stopping hurt. It's about starting life. Real life, authentic life. The life you were meant to live before the world convinced you that your role was to be nice at your own expense. Your journey from here won't be perfect. There will be stumbles. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when the old patterns call you back like a familiar song, or when you have something you didn't have before. Awareness of your worth, awareness of your power, awareness of your power to live in alignment with your truth. Every time you honor a boundary, you teach others how to respect you. Every time you speak your truth, you strengthen your voice. Every time you choose aligned action, you build self-trust. Every time you invest your energy wisely, you create space for miracles. Every time you stand in your worth, you inspire others to do the same. The world doesn't need more nice people who get hurt. The world needs more authentic souls who know how to love without losing themselves, who know how to give without draining themselves, who know how to care without compromising themselves. You are not just changing your life. You are changing the narrative about what it means to be kind, and you are showing others that it's possible to be loving without being a doormat, to be compassionate without being compliant, to be giving without being depleted. This is your moment, your time, your transformation. Take these 5 ways and let them be your guide. Let them lead you from niceness to authenticity, from people-pleasing to peacemaking, from self-sacrifice to self-respect. The journey ahead is yours to take, one aligned action at a time. Trust your emotions. Honor your sacred no. Know your worth. Invest your energy wisely and let your actions align with your truth. You are not just nice, you are powerful. You are not just kind, you are wise. You are not just a giver, you are a creator of healthy boundaries, authentic relationships, and aligned living. Step into this truth. Live from this power. Create from this wisdom. The world is waiting for the real, not the nice version, but the authentic version, not the people-pleasing version, but the truth-speaking version. Your transformation begins now with your next choice, your next word, your next action. Make it count, make it align, make it true. Welcome to your new life, where kindness comes from strength, not fear, where giving comes from abundance, not emptiness, where love comes from worth, not want. This is your time. This is your truth. This is your power. Own it.